All right, can you hear me? I don't have slides, so you have to look at me for 15 minutes. Does that sound okay? Let's see, after we eat, we usually get, I'm not good in biology, but people say when you eat and then we become sleepy, are you awake? The person who's standing here needs a lot of energy from the audience. It's something that a lot of us underestimate when we haven't been here. So I'm going to ask you a question and see how awake are you and how energetic are you, okay? So, hello? Are you awake? Yes. Okay, that's good. That's good energy for me to speak for 15 minutes. So, as a very wonderful MC said about me, I have a lot of things under my title. But it's not really the title that makes a person, it's a lot about the personality. And why Bala and the Icelandic team invited me over, it's because I do one thing for the past 6 years of my life, and I can stay here for a week without going to eat and talk about it 24 hours a day. And that's something that you guys haven't been doing a lot today. Some people have been. It's called Twitter. Do you know what Twitter is? So I tweet. For the past 6 years of my life, I have been tweeting. I love to tweet. I can talk about Twitter. I tweet about what's happening in Stockholm. So let me go back, take you with me 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I didn't have a job. I wasn't sure what I was doing with my life, and I was lost. You know, this typical romantic story where I didn't know what I was doing, I was lost, I am still lost, I'm lost all the time. But back then I didn't really have a job that paid me to buy food. So I had to do something. And then the startup scene in Stockholm had just started. So we had the Stockholm Tech Meetups, which is like monthly meetups where the people from Stockholm come together. And then we have VCs and startup pitches and so on. And then we had the co-working space, Sub 46, Startup People of Sweden. Do you know that place? Yeah, maybe. So you guys have very cool co-working spaces here. We had dinner last night. And then we had a hashtag, STHLMTECH, which was the gate to the community of what was happening in Stockholm. And actually, Stockholm is now today the second best in the world and also one of the top places in Europe to start up a company. And why? 6 years ago, we didn't have that title. Today, we do. We have a lot of unicorns. We have a lot of success stories. And then I think it's because we had the hashtag revolution. So what did I do? I was job hunting, and startups, they never have money to pay, and I really wanted to work in a startup. So I started to mingle and to tweet about what was happening in Stockholm. And back then, we used to have like once a week or a couple of times a week at Moss, an event at night, where someone was talking, or we had like topics about programming, growth hacking, anything. It wasn't very diverse back then. So I used to go sit somewhere up to get the good pictures and then tweet. I don't know why, but I was fast in covering, so telling what was happening. This said that, that said that, and so on, and taking pictures, and then it became like a hobby for me to tweet. And then people could recognize me very easily because they see me at the mingle. I mingle with them, I network with them, and then I tweet. And then something on my, naturally thanks to my parents, my hair, is a very uncommon thing in Stockholm. Not a lot of people look like me. So I use that to my advantage. I have like Bob Marley hair, and every time people see me in the networking events, they recognize me, they call me, "Are you Maral from Twitter?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm Maral from Twitter." So that's how I picked up my first nickname, Maral from Twitter. So I was tweeting at nights and then still looking for a job, mingling around, meeting founders, trying to see if someone would eventually pay me to do something, but they didn't always have budget. And then founders, entrepreneurs are typical people who, if you give them something, they will take it endlessly because that's what they're good at it. So basically, I found a corporate job at Philips. So I started to work, and I could put food on my table. I started to work full-time in the morning. I'm not going to talk about that part of my life. It was fun time. I learned a lot. I traveled the world. It was a great time, but that's not why I am here. So at night, I was still covering events. And then at one event, I met the founder of Peppy Pals, which was still a concept on paper, an emotional intelligence platform to teach kids on empathy and to train their empathy and emotional intelligence. A woman founder named Rosie Linder, we hit it off very, very well. And then she invited me for lunch the week after, and then I started to help her out because I really liked the project, and I really liked that they were going to launch a game in a couple of months, and I wanted to support her in marketing. I love marketing. I haven't studied it, but I loved it, and it fit my personality pretty well. So I started to help her build the brand. So I started to help her out like once a week. Sometimes in Sweden we have something. Is this live broadcasted? Okay. Work from home. So sometimes I used to go sit. And work from home at Sub 46 to help Rosie out, or at night. And long story short, Rosie wanted me to be part of her founding team. So she couldn't pay me a salary. So instead, I took in shares, and I also got the title a co-founder. That's my Peppy Pals story. Just last summer, Peppy Pals just closed a new round of funding from Lego Ventures. So it's going pretty well, but I'm not involved operational. I tried to do it for a year and a half on the side, but then I wanted to do different things because I wasn't the right person to do it on a full-time basis. And so I'm still working in a corporate, doing startups and Twitter at night. I started to pick up also other community events, community roles. Let's say Sub 46, we started together with a friend, something called Sub 46 Femtech. And unfortunately, in a lot of tech events, gender diversity is not something that you would see. So if I go to the toilet, the only good thing, I think, for women is that we don't have to queue when we go to the toilet at tech events. Other than that, it's not a lot of advantage. But again, it's something that we are like underdogs or a minority, and I use that I saw an opportunity there. So we started together with my friend Tatiana, we started at Sub 46 something called Sub 46 Femtech. And that is every 4 times a year, every quarter, we have an event where I bring in different types of background women in tech. So you don't have to be studying engineering to be working in tech. You don't have to have like all the technical details to be working in tech. So we wanted to focus only. So I used to forbid my guests to talk anything negative about being a woman in tech. So it was a no-no. Like I used to teach them before we go on stage. We know we have a problem, but we want to focus on what works. And it actually was a very good inspirational forum, and I've run it for 3 years. I hang my boots of Sub 46 Femtech. Another team is continuing right now. So when we started in Stockholm, there were no other women in tech initiatives, and today we have like once a week something happening for female founders, for developers, and a lot of new founders that are female founders, not just male, like the earlier Hjalmar, or in Icelandic it's Hjalmar, showed earlier. So I did that, and I did other activities as well. And so one day in February, I get a phone call from Stockholm Innovation and Growth, STINK, which is the Nordics #1 accelerator. And so STINK calls me and I was at Philips. They call me, they ask me, I don't know if you are happy with your work, but we love what you do for Stockholm founders. Do you want to do this on full-time basis, and we pay you for it? So I was like, it was like a jackpot. I could actually turn my hobby into a full-time job. So it was a no-brainer that I left my work at Philips, which I had a good time there. And I joined the startup world in an accelerator to help them get more quality leads into their programs, and also support them in marketing their brand and why should startups join their program or apply to their program. So everyone thought that I was talking all the time. I turned my hobby, I tweeted my way to my hobby, blah, 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 blah. But I only stayed there, ironically, for only 10 months. And why? I mean, it was my dream job to do something that I was doing for all the time for the past 3 years in Stockholm, and getting paid for it finally. So I didn't have to do more than one thing. But I didn't feel challenged. It was something I knew exactly what to do. STINK was a big brand. It became bigger. It became a lot of quality applicants came and so on. And it was extremely fun. But it was a lot of things to do, but not something new to do for me. So I said, okay, I want a new challenge, and then I met the founder and the CEO of where I work right now, Watty. He was ironically Sting alumni, so we met each other at an event, and then he started to ask me indirectly if I would join, and then we used to meet, and then he said, do you want to have a real taste of the startup life, like to be in an actual startup where you might go bankrupt in the morning or at night at any given time? I didn't have an understanding of, it's an energy AI startup. I didn't have an understanding of what energy is. I didn't study energy. I had zero interest in it. I had no idea. Promoting an entire ecosystem is different than promoting a product that no one has any interest or an idea of why they should buy it. And I felt like, yeah, it challenges every single part of me. Why not? I left Sting and I joined Watty. It has been exactly 823 days. I actually Googled that before going on stage. And so it's been 2 years and 4 months I am at Watty. It has been the most challenging thing I have done in my life. And compared to Silicon Valley, probably a lot of people here know more than me, is that in Silicon Valley, if you fail at something, you don't get access to hospital, you don't get access to education, you lose your house, and so on. We in the Nordics, this is the best place to fail. So in Stockholm, you can always do anything, and then you're not going to die in front of a hospital. You're not going to be denied a lot of things. The government is always going to take care of you. I think it's the same here, right? Yeah, so we are very lucky. So we can be bold and test things. So I joined Watty, and I come in my first day at work. It's a 3.5, 4-year-old startup that had recently, just a few months before they've hired me, they had raised 3 million euros, so a Series A. I come in. I'm the first marketing person in a big technical team. What am I supposed to market? I don't know really the product. I didn't really understand. I like the founder, I like the team, and I like the concept that they're global. It's not only for Sweden. So what am I supposed to? And I don't have a budget. And when I say I don't have a budget, I meet some like other CMOs or marketing people who have been in the same situation. They have always at least some sort of budget. I literally had 0 kroner budget. So what am I supposed to do? Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm good at tweeting, I'm good with social media, and digital marketing is my what am I known for? So I start to get to see what can I do. The founder, so I lay down everything that we have. First of all, no one is interested in energy. We think we care. I mean, I had a fun conversation with some people here yesterday that in Iceland, people don't give a flying F about climate change. Is it true? Yes, they do? We do. But do you use energy abundantly? Yes, okay. At least you don't lie. So it's something that everyone talks about climate change, and honestly, we don't know if actually we are supporting, but we are supporting in improving that. But that's why we exist. The founder started Watty because he wanted to be able to fix climate change. The typical founder pitch. If we be able to fix 1% of this, imagine how much we're going to do. We don't know if we have a direct impact, but that's why we exist, and that's why we try to do what we do every single day when we go to work. So I say, okay, we have a great cause. That is always good to communicate. And then we have a founder. He's perfect. He's extremely charismatic and very charming on stage. So it was easy for me as a PR person to be able to put him in different stages, and journalists loved him. So he was able to talk with journalists. It made my life easier. So okay, we have a founder. He can go to a lot of different events and talk there. And then we also have like a fun. We were back then a little bit more team than now. So it's a fun team that I can use so that they also become like a little bit more digital ambassadors, tell the Watty story to the world. So that's what happened. So in my first year, we participated into, I also go talk a lot. And we had also other people who could also talk in the tech team. So we had we participated in from March 2017 until end of the year, we participated in a lot of events. So we were at meetups, it costed nothing. So it was just our time, which is the most valuable thing, but still it gave us a lot in return, we built a community around our name, about the brand. People started to know who we are and what we're doing. So basically Watty, what is Watty? It's a small piece of gadget, like a piece of hardware, a box. We call it the Watty box. So it's a box that has all the buzzwords in it. The startup people, we love buzzwords. I mean, if I'm pitching to a journalist or an investor, I say AI. If I want to recruit an engineer, we say machine learning. But they are both the same. It depends on who you're talking to. And then if we talk to telecom people, potential partners, we say IoT. So I say I work with a box with all the buzzwords in it. That was what it really is. It was a very complicated technology, but it was so simply done that you just take it, install it in your house next to your fuse box. If you don't know what a fuse box is, don't feel bad. I didn't even know how it looked like. But it's basically, this control panel where your electricity things are. So you install Watty there, and then using our app, you connect that to the internet, and voila, anything that is plugged on electricity, you can actually measure and see. So every time you put on the kettle or the microwave, we will know when they're on, when they're off, and how much energy they're consuming. Does it sound wow, right? Yes. Thank you. It's like almost like magic how it works. But do you think people really want to buy that? No. People don't want to buy that because it's expensive and then they don't know what to make out of it. So what if I know how my appliances? So it makes my life much harder. And so my role as a marketer or communication was not to actually do great campaigns on buy. And I don't like to do those campaigns anyway from previous experiences either. But what I like to say is to say the story of who we are, why are we doing, because people relate to people. And then we had a good story about the people behind the product. So I optimized and exhausted that. So the digital storytelling using social media as a free channel, I have exhausted my free channels, basically. And by that I mean, we use LinkedIn to keep our partners excited, very simple. And we use Twitter to keep investors excited about us, and also all the media was there. And then the third one, Facebook. I'm not a big Facebook fan, but they have a great groups for community. I'm just telling you what worked for us. So on Facebook, there's a lot of communities on Facebook groups, not the pages, because you have to pay to get visibility on people's news feeds today on Facebook, unless you have a very big engagement that you have built, but it takes a lot of time. And startups, every day we want something now and now. So it's not like I'm not gonna spend a lot of time building that, but we have access to a small communities that are our potential or our customers. And then we have, what did I forget? Instagram. Surprisingly, even to me as a digital person, that Instagram was one of the best places to recruit engineers. In Stockholm, all engineers and developers are on Instagram. You show them what type of company culture you have, they will come to you. And early adopters, which is our customer base, they found us a lot also from Instagram. So basically, this is how now I'm telling you, this is the platform, but of course I didn't know that the first 6 months. I tried a lot of different things to be able to know. And just to give you an understanding, from the outside, today Watty, we are listed on one of the hottest startups in Europe by Wired. Fast Company named us as one of the top innovators. So if you Google, we are on every single list that exists. But that doesn't sell the product, unfortunately. So my job was to find a different way. So what did I do next then? Okay, we have a good brand on the outside. I had to put some effort on the inside, on the product side, product marketing. So our product team needed to understand how people were using the product. most of us, I don't know, the previous speaker as well, we innovate things or we invent things thinking that this is how people are going to use it. But it's never the case. I mean, even like Twitter, my favorite platform, they started as an SMS platform. Today, everything that exists on Twitter is mostly done because of the community asked for it. It was community-driven product fit. So for us, okay, so what can, I mean, and then you have Apple, which is like one of my favorite, absolute favorite brands. They have never really listened to, according to them, I mean, what I know about them is that they have never really listened to the market. They just pushed product, and then we automatically know how to use it and suddenly want everything they launch. So where do you draw the line as a startup? We are not Apple and we are not Twitter, but it's a new category of product. It's a new habit that people want to use. So we need to be a little bit closer to the people, our users and our community. So what I have done is that, okay, I still don't have a budget, and then we wanted to get feedback from our users, potential users, and people who have never heard about us and never seen our product. So I wanted to get the perspective from all these three different audience. So number one, our users, it was easy. They were early adopters. I love them. They are so willing to share and engage just because they love you. They root for you. They want you to be create like great products. So we invited them over some finger foods and alcohol, and they gave us a lot of feedback. So we learned that alcohol works in the Nordic. The potential one, we did a little bit on like online surveys that we had from people who potentially wanted to buy the product. It also worked, we got feedback. And then the third one was a little bit, we wanted to have an idea about what people who have never seen or heard about us would actually react when they see Watty or interact with Watty. So what I did is that, okay, we needed food and beers on a bigger scale because we were going to invite around 150 people for this one. So we sit in a co-working space called Workaround. I went to the community manager. I said, listen, they needed some marketing about their office spaces themselves. I can get you 150 people, from designers, product people, tech people, to test to bring in your office to see the office space. But would you sponsor the pizzas or the food and the drinks? So she said yes. So there's this Silicon Valley-based concept that has just started in Stockholm called drunk user test. So basically people drink and test your app because then they're more relaxed and then you get better feedback. So that's what we did, drunk user test, Watty style. So we brought in 150 people and we got great feedback that people who have never interacted with our product before. And it was a lot of things that were like a no-brainer when not 150 people tested the product, but let's say 70 people of them did. And then from the 70 people, we had, let's say, 70% said the same thing, 50% said something else, and then we categorized, so it was easier for the product team to take the feedback and see how can we iterate that in our product and then change and then push it to the market and so on. So this is what you can do when you don't have resources. Okay, I'm out of time. Okay, so basically, why am I here today? Basically to tell you not that everything is like unicorns and rainbows. It's not. It's a lot of failures. It's a lot of problems. But always, one thing maybe you can learn from me, and that was the title of my. We didn't have it there. The title of my talk is that. Opportunities are found in limitations because limitations are in your own illusion. I mean, try to see what you have and focus on that and do that. Because if you just want to focus on what you don't have, there's always things we don't have. Just focus on what you have and keep on doing that, and then you will have great results. Thank you so much.